Hi there. We're going to start off our lesson today with a grammar starter looking at tenses. And we're going to be focusing on the past and the present tense. We have discussed this before about what a tense means, but what is the difference between the past tense and the present tense? What do each of those things mean? How do you know whether a sentence has been written in the past tense or the present tense? Well, if something is written in the past tense, that means that it's something that's already happened. It's happened in the past, it's already been and gone. But if you're talking about something in the present tense, that means that it's happening right now, at this very instant. So if I was saying I went to the beach, that would be in the past tense because it's something that's already happened in the past. I went to the beach. I'm not there now. I went there in the past. But if I was to say I am at the beach, that would be present tense because that's talking about something that's happening right now. I am at the beach. So that would be present tense. So that's the difference between the two. Let's have a look now at some sentences. And I'd like to work out whether you think they are written in the past tense or in the present tense. And then for a challenge at the end, we're going to see if we can change some of those sentences from one tense to another. So let's look at the first sentence. I went to the Mexican restaurant. Would that be in the past or would that be in the present right now? Second one. I am relaxing happily on the beach. Past or present? Third one. I can see the dolphins swimming in the sea. Past tense or present tense? And the final one. The girl needed some help. Is that in the past or is that in the present? So what we're going to do is we're going to now decide whether they are past or present. And any sentences that are in the present tense, we're going to see if we can change them so that they become past tense sentences. So for the first one, it says, I went to the Mexican restaurant. That's something that's already happened. I went there. I'm not there now. I've been there already. I went to the Mexican restaurant. So that sentence is in the past tense. So we'll keep that one as it is. The second one says, I am relaxing happily on the beach. Is that in the past or is that happening now? It's happening now. I am relaxing happily on the beach. It's a present tense sentence. So how can I change am relaxing, that part of the sentence, to the past tense? Well, I have two choices. I can either change the am to was to make it I was relaxing happily on the beach, or I can get rid of these two words and just change it for one verb, relaxed. I relaxed happily on the beach. And that way now, this is now in the past tense. It's something that happened. I relaxed happily on the beach. I'm not doing it now. I did it before. The third one, I can see the dolphins swimming in the sea. Is that something that's in the past or is it something in the present happening now? It's happening now, isn't it? I can see the dolphins swimming in the sea. If you wanted to change that to the past tense, instead of saying I can see, you could say I could see, because that was in the past, or the past tense of the word see, to see something, would be saw. I saw the dolphins swimming in the sea. That's now in the past tense. It's already happened. The last one, the girl needed some help. That's also in the past tense. She needed the help, but maybe she's got the help now, or maybe she's okay, but she needed the help, which was in the past. So remember, if you're writing sentences, it's good to stick to one tense. And if you're writing a letter or a diary or a postcard, you're probably going to want to stick to the past tense because you're writing about things that have already happened to you. You might say something at the end of the letter like, oh, I look forward to tomorrow, I might do this. That's thinking forward, but most of what you say is going to be describing what's happened to you. So that would be written in the past tense. So remember that because that's going to help you when we're going to be doing some letter writing and some diary writing over the next couple of weeks. Now, today, we're going to see if we can understand a range of sentence types. So to be successful, we're going to see if we can write simple sentences. We're going to see if we can write compound sentences. We're going to see if we can write complex sentences. And then if you can do all three of those, we're going to see if we can vary it to use a range of sentence types. So not just focusing on writing one really well, but writing a range of different sentence types. And we're focusing on description the whole time. So I've got some sentences here. I'd like to have a read of them, so you might need to pause it in a moment. And they're all to do with things that happened when somebody visited Mexico. So it's all in the past tense, things that have already happened. And I think that there are some really good conjunctions there which have been underlined. Some of the sentences which have conjunctions are compound sentences, which means that two bits of a sentence have been joined together. And sometimes it's a complex sentence, which means that it's two bits of a sentence that's joined together, but one of those bits wouldn't make sense by itself. If you just had that one bit of the sentence by itself, you'd be like, I don't understand. So compound sentences and complex sentences can be made with different types of conjunctions. We've looked at different types of conjunctions. Lots of them are underlined. Some conjunctions are coordinating, which means that the two sentences work together, and that means it makes a compound sentence. And sometimes the conjunctions are subordinating, which means that the conjunctions join the two ideas together, but one of those ideas wouldn't make sense by itself. We'll learn a little bit more about that later in the year. So if you're struggling with understanding that now, don't panic. We'll keep focusing on that. Have you had a read through the sentences now? Hopefully you have. You can see that in the first sentence, there's the conjunction and. If you were talking about, I went to the stunning beach, I swam in the crystal clear water, both of those sentences would make sense by themselves if they were individual simple sentences. So the conjunction and works as a coordinating conjunction, and that makes it a compound sentence. You could have written two simple sentences, but by joining them together, it just makes it a bit more easy for the reader to read it with a bit more of a flow. So that's why conjunctions are a good idea. In the second sentences, we've got which. If I just had this bit of the sentence, is a really old ruin built thousands of years ago, would that make sense by itself? It wouldn't, would it? The first bit, I visited Chichen Itza, that would make sense by itself. But this second bit wouldn't, which means that which is a subordinated conjunction, and that makes it a complex sentence. So already, the person who's written these sentences has got a compound sentence here and a complex sentence here. So they're already on their way to using a range of sentence types. The conjunction when in this sentence is used at the start. That automatically makes it a complex sentence. If you can start your sentence that makes sense with a conjunction, then you've made a complex sentence. And I've got the word so here. So can sometimes be used as a coordinating conjunction and sometimes subordinating. But if you use the word so, it's a really good way of making your sentences explain why something has happened, because is also a very good explanation word. Now, for your challenge today, I'd like you to have a think about 4 things that you might be able to do on a visit to Mexico. And your job is to write a sentence explaining about each thing using the past tense, which we talked about at the start of the lesson. To challenge yourself, I'd like to see if you could use a range of conjunctions to add details to link your ideas. And on the screen now, I've got a list of different conjunctions that you might try to challenge yourself to use. Remember, you've got 4 sentences to write, so you could write one simple sentence with no conjunction at all if you want to. But for the other 3 sentences, try to use a different conjunction each time. You don't really want to have 4 sentences all using the word and or all using the word because. That won't show off how good you are at your writing. But if you do use a range of conjunctions, it shows that you're really good at linking your ideas and it makes your ideas flow really nicely. Remember, once you've written your sentences, to upload them onto DB Primary, and we can take a look at them and see how you've done with your use of conjunctions to explain in detail.